And we're back. You reach out for the familiar handle, cold in your grasp. You turn it and open, and a warmly lit, familiar interior greets you with the immediate smell of freshly cooked eggs, bread. You hear laughter in the next room.
Well, I stride in the room.
You enter and step to the right-hand side of the entryway where you know it leads to the central kind of dining area of this humble home. And there you see the long table where a number of small breakfast foods are arranged. There are 7 empty chairs cluttered around the table. And at the other end of the head, sitting, you see an older, far gaunter Trent Ikithon, the collar still affixed around his throat. His laughter halting as he looks towards you, to his right and left. You see the African Una, unchanged since the last day you saw them, looking back at you, and they smile. Bren, come sit with me and your parents. We have to discuss a familiar conversation about your future.
It's been close to 20 years since we all sat together like this.
Ja, it's been too long. But maybe we can start again.
Mutter, don't you think it's strange that you haven't changed one iota? What game are we playing at here, Trent?
The game is what we started 20 years ago, Bren. To better each other. And look at you. I've never been so proud. Both your parents go, so proud, so proud.
I'm gonna lean down and whisper in Caleb's ear. I'm so sorry. And I'm gonna look at Trent in the eye. And I'm gonna turn undead.
In this instant, both of Caleb's parents recoil as a soft blast of strange, like pale, almost pastel green energy just kind of whirls around you and spreads out into the chamber. As they both fall back and recoil, you see Trent's grin fall to a stoic stare. This is unkind when you are a guest.
You're unkind.
Perhaps the lesson should begin with me then. At which point you hear this high-pitched whine before the table explodes. The entire house, everyone outside looking in, the entirety of the farmstead home just detonates in a massive flaming fireball, an inferno that rises 30 feet into the air. Stone and wood, charred, go flying in all directions. Most of the roof either is collapsed inward or is thrown from side to side. I need everyone who is inside to make a dexterity saving throw.
30.
Okay, 30. You only take 34 points of fire damage.
Wait, Ford! No, I gave you something special. You have fire resistance.
Thank you.
All right,
yes.
so 17 points of fire damage.
I rolled 27.
27, you take 34 points of fire damage, but you
Except
have the ring.
I'm wearing that ring,
so that's
baby.
only
All right.
17. All right, Caleb.
I re-equipped the Ring of Evasion last night after giving the Luck Stone to Luke, so I auto-succeed.
34 points of fire damage. As the smoke and flames begin to clear, you see the sky above and the smoke rising. This house is just blasted open now. And before you see Trent Ikithon kind of floating up in the air. And where your two parents stood, you see two burned, twisted, on fire, ghoul-like undead corpses that gnash at you with sharp, blackened teeth, clawed fingers, and strips of flesh and cloth that are just immediately burning and sending flickers of flames behind them. What are you doing, Yasha?
Okay.
Okay.
I would like to rage.
That's my baby!
Ah! And then what I would like to do is bamf out my wings.
All right. Your feathered wings emerge, outstretching side to side. You now have your flying speed and your bonus damage if you do hit.
Okay, and then I'm going to make my way inside.
All right. I'm gonna try and hit a pop.
You go and punch him right in the back of the head, and you watch the fist should have impacted, but he seems to and duck out of the way. No impact. And he just starts laughing.
I'm gonna turn to everybody. I don't think he's here. I'm gonna continue my movement to Crispy Daddy.
Alrighty.
My second attack, that's gonna be 8 damage.
8 damage.
Stunning strike.
Okay, you also take 5 points of fire damage as you punch it and realize there are flames burning through its corpse. A natural 20 on its point. It resists the stun. Trent is going to go ahead and fly up into the air, 35 feet. As he does, he lifts his arms up to the sky, and you watch as up in the clouds above, this tear rips open in 4 different places. You see the stars and cosmos swirling as these massive flaming stones rocket down from above. Slamming as a meteor swarm into the center of this battlefield.
Oh, anyone within 10 feet of me, you get +5, natural 20 for a 26.
Woo!
You're supposed to...
So that's 70 fire damage.
Resisted.
Right, right.
35.
Reduced to half from your fire resistance, which brings you to a 17. And then you also take 35 points of bludgeoning damage.
I use Diamond Soul to use 1 key to reroll my save to give me a 20 total.
Still fails.
Evasion.
Indeed. So you take half damage from this, which would mean you would take 37 and 35.
So because I am close to Ford and I get that +5, my total is a 23.
23 would succeed.
But I take 70 something total.
You do.
Yeah. I'm fucked up.
All right. Yasha, half the fire damage, you take 37 points of fire damage. And you take 35 bludgeoning, but you are resistant to bludgeoning while raging, so that brings it to only 17. Caduceus, you take 75 points of fire damage, 71 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, wow. That's
Jester?
what that does.
22.
22 just succeeds. Luke? Well, with the potion, it would have increased your level temporarily, so you would have evasion. So you take half damage from both.
I'm invincible!
So
With my bonus action, as I'm running underneath him, I will draw water out of the air and point my hand up and cast Hexblade's Curse on Trent. And with my action, I will unleash 4 Eldritch Blasts.
hell yeah. Let's go. Blasts into him, and you watch him just kind of like almost glitch to the side, and it goes wide without
Like,
impact.
not there.
I'll send the second one to the dad.
The blast poof, poof, knock him back against the wall, and you see the fear in the eyes still present. It'll dash outward and immediately engage with Caduceus. Just gets right up to all of you, and you watch as it comes out. So it's going to be 2 attacks with disadvantage against you, because it can see Jester.
Miss.
It just strikes out with these gnarled claws that are flaming at the tips, and both of them you're just like parrying off to the side. No worries yet.
This is Daddy.
This is Daddy, yeah.
I'm going to buy another reaction with Mind of Mercury
Okay.
to attack again.
Okay, you take 7 points of fire damage.
Fine.
And how do you want to do this?
I do a series of blows right to his neck, which more or less severs his flesh. And just rips it right down the center of his chest.
Sundered and put to rest. All right. Trent is going to use 2 legendary actions. Rapid cast, he's going to go ahead and cast Chain Lightning.
Maybe I'll counterspell it instead.
You do not see the floating Trent casting anything. And as you release a counterspell, It doesn't find purchase anywhere.
Where is he?
Jester, behind your shoulders, a glow of bright energy suddenly unleashes, and you see a spark of lightning strike out from near where that tree is. You watch the blast go through. As both of you dodge out of the way, you glance over your shoulder and watch as Caleb falls into the ground, smoke smoldering off his chest.
Fuck.
All right, that brings us to Yasha.
Shit.
No, it brings us to Caleb number 2, who turns into a fucking T-Rex!
Okay.
Which now, Luke, you are riding a T-Rex.
Oh God, this is so real. I don't think that this guy's really here. So I'm gonna take some talcum powder in my hand and smush it around and try to remember the words that Caleb taught me, and I'm gonna cast See Invisibility.
With that, you can now see behind this tree, you can now see, thanks to the open air of the house and the line of sight you have, another old frail man looking just like the one that was present seems to be crouching down behind the tree like a little creep.
I've just decided none of this is going to do, so I'm casting Mass Heal.
Okay, I'm gonna turn around based on what Luke just told us, and I'm gonna run forward and hope that I run into a dude. And I'm gonna cast Anti-Magic Field.
Immediately, operating behind this tree, this frail old man who, like, holding the side of the tree, cackling to himself, goes, surrounded here, looking feeble. He looks around. I figured this would be what happens. That's why the intelligence prepare. And he reaches in his robe and pulls forth this strange, like webbed egg-looking artifact in his grips. As he looks at it, Omentis, let us set you free. And he breaks it in his grasp. Pulling it open, black energy begins to pour out because the anti-magic field does not suppress artifacts.
Right.
You watch it sink into his chest and begin to weave into his torso, his eyes roll over black. The force begins to emit from him, pushing you all back, along with this house itself. It begins to shake, and you're all pushed back as what remains standing crumbles and falls away in this blast of dark shadow power. The air itself grows cold and ill. You look up, and the space where the tree was and where Trent was standing, this orb of black shadow is just swelling outward, 10, 15, 20, 30 feet. As the shadow fades, you see emerge this massive, 35-foot tall, strange entity made of black and purple swirling darkness.
What?
4 extended lithe limbs with clawed hands seem to emerge from it as tethers of swirling, screaming black power just end up sifting through it and pouring out. 2 massive horns curl back as red glowing eyes in the center of its face emit this bright glow, and it begins to just walk towards Blumenthal.
Oh no.
With its movement, it steps forward into the nearby city streets. As it shifts just far enough to get into view, you watch as different townsfolk scream and turn to run, and just the very essence of it around siphons the life from them as they fall and turn into a husk on the ground.
Cool! Watching that horrible shit happen, the star razor in my hand will glow, and I'll say, Gallus fly! And I'll cast fly and shoot into the air.
Yes!
Caleb, you're conscious on the ground, and as you've been woken up, you hear the sound and you glance up from the rubble of the home as it blasts again. As the smoke and dust settles, you see this entity walking into your home village.
I actually don't stand up right away. I just place one palm on the ground and another palm on the ground, and both hands swell and grow, and you watch as Caleb transforms into a perfect image of Galadon the Nightmare in ivory.
If this is a kaiju battle, let's make it one. I will cast Enlarge on the T-Rex that I'm riding.
As the T-Rex bounding up matches near the size of Galadon, actually. And the people of the town that are already running and screaming are now running and screaming. Even harder. This is the worst morning this little sleepy village has ever seen. You watch as it doesn't even look forward, there's the glowing red in its face, and one of these strange whipping tendrils reaches out and tries to pierce Ford, who is flying in their direction.
I'm gonna roll a d6 for armor of hexes to see if it'll miss.
All right.
4 misses!
You just kind of, you dogfight out of the way as you're like the shadow around you. The water, like the dark water that spills around you from the Wild Mother's blessing just kind of coasts it off of you, no impact.
Artie, if there was ever a time I needed you, it's now. And I'm going to swirl my hands around and cast Gate. And I'm gonna pull Artagan through the gate.
So as you concentrate, this blooming portal of leaves and vines suddenly apparates in the air, and from it you watch this cloak unfurl, and a bright orange halo of hair appears. He goes,
Don't worry, Jester, I've got you. What have you brought me into? Really? All right.
He's gonna go ahead and cast Chain Lightning on this thing out of the gate. 38 points of lightning damage to it. And you watch as part of it tries to arc off towards one of the running civilians, and Howdy goes like, and like carves his finger and it like darts off and hits a stone.
Didn't seem to do too much. What's going on?
All right, I'm going to run over to him. That's 101 points of damage.
101 points of damage in one hit. Both strikes cutting through it, this mass swaths. You see, like it leaves almost like a faded arc of divine energy in the air that takes a moment to fade. It's like it before they vanish. And as you cut through, it just keeps walking.
I'm going to spend 3 key points to do debilitating barrage.
Okay.
So as I run up, I'm going to scrape the hide of Caleb's white dragon as I take my nails and shunt it into his thigh, making it vulnerable to ice damage.
At the beginning of the turn, a pulse of necrotic energy
Oh, it was that one.
filters out for 60 feet in all directions. You watch as everyone around in the city screams and crawls, crumbles, trying to escape, and are taken out by the proximity of this terrifying entity. It's gonna look down at you, Yasha.
Bring it, bitch.
It's gonna use Ire of Oblivion.
Okay, maybe not.
I need you to...
JK.
It glances down, you watch its eyes begin to glow brighter red, and this like weird symbol in the middle of its forehead begins to bring up energy as it just blasts this concentrated beam of burning red-pink energy into you. Make a dexterity saving throw.
That would be a natural fucking 20.
That's great. So you take half damage, so you only take 75 points of force damage. Caleb, as you were in the point of the dragon, kind of glancing up at it, as it turns around and fires this beam into Yasha, you can see where all the shadows are swirling around it. In its chest, where its clavicle and sternum would meet, you see that strange web egg that was shattered by Trent Ikithon still visible. At the end of your turn, it's going to go and use use a legendary action to void claw you from behind. One of its forearms suddenly rakes you from behind.
No. So let me roll this damn armor of hexes. Please, 4 to 6. 6! I'm gonna hit the brakes. He's gonna fly right by. Woo!
Great.
All right, I have some ideas, but I'm not going to let Bo's work go to waste. The ancient white dragon takes to the sky, arches over and slams down, crushing that wagon right next to Ford. So there is a massive ancient dragon's head right next to you. I'll grind your bones to make my bread!
77 points of damage as you blast into it. You watch as some of the shadow freezes over. Ice shards kind of cover its whole body, and the nearby rooftops behind just... You see it kind of holds for a second, and pushes out, and you see it break and shatter, and the entire ground is filled with a cacophony of shattering glass-sounding ice. All around. Some of you have to instinctually cover your eyes, and the creature just keeps lumbering forward.
Do I see that egg thing?
You do see that kind of that pulsing flicker in its chest where the artifact is embedded.
Okay, I'll bonus action. I'll cast my mom's spell. Bernato's voltaic bolt, and then I'll shoot her gun into the egg.
26 points of damage straight to this artifact.
Yes.
As you strike it, you watch as the impact causes it to shudder, and it seems like for a minute the being's shadow that keeps it solid seems to flicker and have to regain itself.
That was good.
Yeah, guys. I think I did a thing. You gotta hit the egg. The egg thing is the thing, and oh shit!
Hi. Okay. Let's do this then. I'm going to pray to my deity. I wonder, it might be easier if this ichor were clear, like ice. I think, if possible, I would like the ichor to become clear and translucent, so I can see everything inside of it.
You watch as a cold breeze, colder than the atmosphere of the shadow around it, blows in, and the ground, now covered in frost from the blast of your breath, begins to turn into ice shards that climb up its body. You watch as a cloud forms ahead. You swear for a moment it looks like a benevolent woman's face that almost seems to look down in disapproval. The ice begins to climb up into its body, but seem to embed within the shadow, and the black shadow becomes to temporarily become somewhat translucent, and you can see throughout its body there are all of these like veins of shadow that swarm throughout with runes that glow amongst them, and there's a shadow in the center of its chest that looks like a withered old man that's just kind of hanging there like a puppet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay, with my unarmored movement, can I run up this thing?
Yeah, you managed to jump off the rooftop of the nearby building and leap up in the air towards it.
I'm going to rip it from its chest. And I'm gonna say, open wide. I'm gonna just toss it into the white dragon's mouth.
As you pull the egg from the chest of this entity, all of the shadows begin to swirl around you. Wind begins to build up, and you watch it be pulled into the quickly reforming egg. As it begins to pull in, you see a hint of Trent Ikithon himself be left there in space before the tendrils hook him and pull him screaming into the egg as well. Lob it into the air and into the mouth of Geladon if you choose to swallow it.
I will.
Whoa! Why'd you have to say it like that?
If we're in how do you want to do this territory, I will launch at it and vomit up more ice and catch it in the air, and then just turn wrestler style and suplex it, smash it into the earth, and shatter it into 1,000.